Okay, something's happening. So, hi, alive, another live. I'm loving that we can still kind of pull together and still have a live gathering, even if we're kind of all far apart and in our homes in quarantine. But that's okay because this has kind of given us a little bit of an opportunity, right? A little bit of an opportunity to kind of see what's going on and to look under what's really happening here. Hi. Hi everybody. It's so good to see everyone. I wish I could see your faces though. I don't like that I can't see anyone's faces. So I'm sorry if I'm looking away at different places because I'm not very good at this quite yet. Maybe I'll get better in the future. But I want to sit here for just a sec and see if anyone jumps on before we start getting into uncomfortable emotions. I think this is a really, really important topic, and I have put a lot of thought into this, and so I hope it all flows really well. But for a moment while we're waiting, I just kind of want you to take a couple breaths and to just sit in this moment and tell yourself that you're going to be open to anything that comes up. Because one thing that's really important is to have an open mind. Some of these things you may have completely heard of and is understandable, and some things might feel a little bit, hi Kristen, some things might feel like this is new to you and you've never heard of it. And when we hear of something that's new, we often want to put up a guard or a resistance. And that's kind of a flag that's where you need to go deeper, because immediately that's saying that, again, there's a little bit of triggers. And with uncomfortable emotions, the reason why they're uncomfortable is because of what they are triggering within us. So, all right, we're just a couple minutes in. There's only a few people, and that's fine because this is so new. Oh gosh, thank you. Thank you, Alexis and Taylor. I appreciate it. So first off, let's just kind of get into the spiritual side of what's going on with this pandemic. I find that there's a lot of focus on the science. There's a lot of focus on what's happening physically on our world and globally what's going on. But, it's not too often that we're seeing what's happening on the spiritual side. And this is a huge awakening. So the earth is coming alive. Since I've been in Utah, I came to Utah to be with my family, and they had an earthquake 5 days ago. And since then, there's been periodical little earthquakes. We all know that there was an entire continent on fire. We see left and right that there's even the earth is coming alive. I mean, this morning it was sunny and snowing. Things are just kind of in this crazy, chaotic state. And really, instead of going into the chaos of it, this is an opportunity to kind of go deeper and say, what's really happening? What is triggering me? So crisis usually helps us confront our deepest demons. And I love going into personal work because when we are doing our inner work, what our inner work is offering us is not just healing for ourselves, but when we heal ourselves, we automatically help lift the vibration of humanity and the vibration of the planet. So, some of these emotions that get triggered is obviously fear and anxiety. For some, it could be shame. Maybe you don't feel like you're doing enough, or grief. You're grieving for other people and their suffering. And that's important to feel. Every emotion has a purpose. So the one thing with our emotions is we don't want to tuck them away. We don't want to just send our emotions down, because our emotions can either expand us or our emotions contract us. And if we get into these emotions like fear and shame and panic and anxiety, we get contracted. And then if we're not facing those or moving into them to hear the message, because there's always a message. Just remember that with any emotion you feel, there's a message there. And the message is to go deeper, not to tuck it away, to get distracted with the next Netflix binge watch, or get distracted with something to go out and do, or someplace to go see, or a shopping spree, right? This is not where you should get distracted. This is when you should stop and start to go within, and that's where all the healing begins. I want to show something here. This is called the Hawkins scale. And this is from a book I read years ago, but it's a book called Power versus Force by Dr. Hawkins. And on this scale, he labels all of these fears, and they all have a specific vibration. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with the chakras, but we're going to talk about the chakras, which are energy centers in our body from the crown of our head. They even go above the crown of the head, but from the crown of our head all the way down to our root chakra, which is, it can go all the way down to the ground, but initially the root chakra is covering the pelvic area, our perineum, and anything to the earth. So this coordinates with these areas in our body. So here's another picture of the chakras in our body. You can see the colors are very familiar. And we're going to kind of cover this, the root chakra way down here. This root chakra is where we're going to be doing some healing today. This is the area that our entire pandemic is bringing out in humanity. And the more people who are working with healing the root chakra, the more opportunity we have to heal each other and to kind of create this new world, this new reality. When this settles, we'll be doing our healing work, so we'll be ready. We won't have just used this time to catch up on the latest videos or use this time just to sit and put on 20 pounds. We'll have used this time to do our inner work so that we are ready to help carry this humanity into another level. And that is going to come by diving into our emotions. So coming back to the Hawkins scale, we're going to kind of cover fear, right? We're going to go right into here. It's at 100, vibrating at 100. It's very contracted. So if we are dealing with fear or panic, which kind of comes out the same, anxiety, what is happening here is there's other emotions that are under the surface. So fear is just the surface emotion that we're feeling, or, panic or whatever you were feeling at that time. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't feel any of those, congratulations. You are the person who your job is so important. You are holding and carrying the light and grounding it and anchoring into the earth. And your job is to go out and serve, all the people who are still trying to heal and still trying to move through some of these uncomfortable emotions. So when we do kind of come into fear, a lot of times it's like, well, what is fear saying? What is the message behind fear? And we can look at fear and say, oh, well, I don't want to get this coronavirus because I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get pneumonia. It's going to hurt. It's going to take weeks for me to get over it. That's valid. But what's underlying that? Okay, well, what else? Well, usually where we go, death. Nobody wants this because death is a very scary emotion, or a very scary topic. It's something that a lot of people don't want to confront or think about. But then again, why? What scares you about death? So for a lot of people, it's also understanding what is their connection with something greater than themselves, whatever that is. But also on a more physical, emotional level, most people are dealing with regret. Death scares you because there's this regret, and regret for anything. It could be regret that, well, I want to watch my kids grow. I would regret that. Or I regret certain conversations I need to say with people in my life. Or I regret not covering up my bucket list. So moving, just whatever it is for you, moving deeper into it. Why is there this fear? Why is there this panic? Because this is the opportunity we are given to go in and heal our root chakra, to go in and not just run away from our emotions, but to go into the emotion and see what message is there for us. So all emotions are valid. All emotions serve a purpose, and we never want to push them away. There's a lot of spiritual teachers and a lot of spiritual organizations out there that say, right, we just want to kind of work with these upper chakras. We want to get into the crown, the third eye, just focus on all of this. But we are in a human body that's very physical and that really likes to be grounded. So it's incredibly important to ground with our body. And those are dealing with some of those lower chakras, those chakras that keep us connected to the earth, to our planet, connected to each other. So we want to use all of the emotions to move into them and to see what's going on in there, because no emotions are good. No emotions are bad. There's no such thing. They're just at a different vibration. They're contracting emotions or expanding. And at any time in our life, we're going to feel both. And if we deal with them or move into them to acknowledge them, to accept them, to see what's underlying them, which this will be some of the actionable steps I'll bring up a little bit later, then we will see, like, when these emotions get triggered, we'll be able to go into these emotions and see what other underlying emotions are there, right? Emotions are energy. So if we're contracting and blocking them, we're gonna see ourselves moving into more illness, more dis-ease. Fear and our root chakra, when we are stressed, fearful, or blocked in our root chakra, it suppresses our immune system greatly. So we're kind of being shown right now too, what are we fearful about? This is more of an opportunity in our pause of life. For some of us, it feels like it's paused. For some, they are right in the middle of all the trauma, right in the middle of all the hardship. And for them, we even need to do this work more because there has to be some grounding, some expansion to offer all of those people who are suffering. This is going to be pretty big. In the end, when this settles, there's going to be millions of people affected, dead, and hungry, and not sure how to continue to make that dollar. So this is important work. This is not something that we should just toss aside and be like, it'll settle in a few days. I've got a pantry full of food. If you're that person, then that is more of why this work is so important for you, because there's something else that you have to offer. When you heal yourself, you heal the world. So if there's been moments of fear, moments of panic, moments of any other low vibrating emotion, grief, shame, this is something to look into. So again, going back to fear, because that's kind of the one that I feel is resonating the highest on our planet right now. When fear is stacked up, a lot of times what happens is fear gets stacked up and all of these other underlying emotions are stuck underneath it. And the coronavirus is this catalyst that in a way is the blessing, because it's the one that is saying, world, you have to stop looking at all the conspiracies of why this is going on and do your inner work. Stop looking on the outside of you. We can always focus on the outside of us and say, look, there's all of this catastrophe going on. I'm going to start focusing on that, giving all my energy to that. And then it creates more fear. It starts trapping more and more things. But if we stop and start tackling a different area within ourselves, we're going to stop focusing on the outside. We're going to stop paying attention to so much of what's going on. If it's not happening right in front of you, your next door neighbor, elsewhere, this is your time to do this work. This work to expand is going to affect what's happening on our globe. And our earth is trying to also connect to us and say, ground down, start healing that root chakra, start healing some of these lower energy centers in the body. And you're going to start seeing more clarity in the mind and redoing the old patterns of our subconscious. So, when you work with uncomfortable emotions, the best thing about it is you'll start to notice in your life that you see less and less of them. So for anyone where they're fearful now, and maybe they get fearful at other times, like driving in the car, or fearful of their health on another, in another situation. Health becomes something they're really fearful about, or they're fearful about their relationship, or fearful about money coming in or coming out. If fear continues to come up for you, or panic, or this works with any emotion, if it is a continual thing that continues to come up, that is an invitation to move into what is going on. And really, it's quite simple work. It just takes recognition every single time it appears. But what is happening is we start to see these emotions more and more and more when we are pushed, when we need to work with them. We're being pushed to work with them, and we start to see them so often. So if we stop and we start to work with them and we start to heal from them, they will go away. And then when we see them, it's not as scary. It actually is something that kind of we work with, we diffuse those emotions, and we start to find that our skills and our techniques they start to change and become ones that are very vital, and they really start to help us in new ways. So we want to see less and less of these lower vibrating emotions. We want to see them, recognize them, ask what their message is, let them serve their purpose, and then push them away. But we've come to this place where we're so congested that all of humanity just wants to be distracted and block everything and tuck it down and keep tucking it down and not do this inner work. And this is what we create. We are all connected. When we see something out in the world, we can do no blaming, no pointing your fingers, because what work have you been missing? What have you been not expanding out there? We are all connected, and anything that we see, we play a part in. So if there's a lot of fear, that's something to say, what are we not doing? What are we not seeing? And, if you are a sensitive person, if you have definitely noticed that within yourself, emotions kind of get explosive, you feel other people's emotions, you've read and understood the term empath. When you're a sensitive person, that, a lot of times we create these habits and these distractions to kind of help us push these emotions away. We just turn and run from them. And I know, because I've done that for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until I decided to face things and start healing for myself that I realized my empowerment was in healing. And it takes courage and it takes time. And guess what we have right now? We have some time. We are all in quarantine. We are all paused in our world. If we are not at the forefront of the chaos, which we give them our energy and our love and our appreciation for what they have to go through and the suffering that they have to go through for us to be changing, to make this world different. We have to give that out there to them, and we also have to do our work even more because of this. On a spiritual level, we are invited to awaken. This catastrophe is a huge awakening. So the universe never makes a mistake, right? The universe never makes a mistake. Whatever emotion you are feeling, it has a purpose. It is there to teach you. Don't push it away. Move into it. Ask what's going on. Our healing journey will change the world. Our healing journey through these emotions will also change our beliefs. And a lot of what we're seeing right now is old beliefs, old systems, old programs of our subconscious that are running over and over and over due to culture, due to society, due to all kinds of old programs. And this is our opportunity to heal ourselves, to create a new perspective and to create new programs so that we can make the biggest change, because it's us doing it here personally together. I'll give you some tips and ways that you can do this. But if you do this on a daily basis for yourself, by the time this starts to settle, we will all be able to create a new world, and a new world where this will look like our power. This will be empowering, because we will start to see, if I'm getting shown what's happening in the world, that means I have more action to give. That means that I am somebody who needs to step up and make a difference. And the difference is not hoarding toilet paper. The difference is not panicking and ripping all the food off of the shelves. The difference is when I heal myself, I start to expand into newer emotions that become who I am. And these expanded emotions start to get spread and tapped into people all over the planet because, again, we are all connected. So let me just look at my notes here real quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to offer a healing exercise that we will all do together. But before I do that, I want to kind of go into some areas that this healing and what we're dealing with right now, it's dealing with our first chakra. This energy center, we have energy centers in our body. And if you've never heard this before, if chakras have never been anything you heard before, that's fine. Just be open. How do you be open? If you've never heard of this and you're feeling resistance, say yes. Just say yes. Say yes to yourself. Just accept what this is. Just listen and see how it resonates with you. So our chakra, our energy centers, let's see if we can see this. We're going to come all the way down here, right? We're going to come right into our root chakra. Now, our root chakra, it is the chakra of safety, security, belonging, our basic trust in life, in the universe, in the divine. This is the chakra that is all of our memories, our programming, our family, our culture. This is the chakra of tribe, the chakra of like what we pretty much from the very beginning of life. This chakra also governs physical parts of our body. So it governs our legs, our bone structure. It governs our immune system. So if we are having any issues with our immune system, this virus is going to join us and become our little friend for a while. So it's more important than ever that we see vibration in viruses, bacteria, pathogen, anything that affects our body are also of a vibration. So if we are trapped with emotions blocking our root chakra from expanding and flowing, then our immune system is going to be suppressed. And if our immune system is suppressed, whatever those bacteria and viruses are, they get stronger and they affect more of us. Again, our empowerment. We're going to go get all of these narcotics and all of these drugs off the shelf. My brother showed me a video of people are stealing drugs and over-the-counter prescriptions off the shelf. So we actually have this empowerment within us. It doesn't mean that nothing's going to affect us again, but we have the availability within our bodies to fight anything that is out there. We are very strong. We are divine light in a physical body. So just going back into the root chakra. So what we want to do is, we want to heal this root chakra by removing some of these emotions, by going in, by doing physical work, by doing mental work, and by doing even visual meditative work. Because what we see is what we create. So if we can go in and through our meditations and through our mind, start to connect to ourselves, connect to the ground, connect to the earth, connect to the higher divine, something greater than you, God, source energy, whatever you define that as. So we're going to do some work with this. We want to remember that fear is a very informative emotion. And the more you work with it, the less you will fear. The less you will fear. You're not going to feel it so much if you work with it. Don't run away, go into it. Healing always means, in anything, go into it. You can't just distract yourself out of anything. You have to go into it. And that's where all the beauty and the messages start to unfold. So what needs to be healed here? We're going to go deeper to see what needs to be healed. First off, the best thing to do is to write down what's happening. I like this question. If today was my last day on earth, would I be fulfilled? Would I have regrets? Write about that. Give yourself 10 minutes just to sit with it and think, if today were my last day on earth, what would I regret, if anything? And maybe there's nothing. If there's nothing, hold the light for us all, because we need you to also give us that light. We all need that. And would you be fulfilled? Once you start to define this and to go deeper into the layers of what that is, when you start working with this, you're going to start to see some things come up that could be from way back, from childhood, from infancy, who knows how far back this is. So we heal by doing this work. We heal by doing body work. Emotional release comes from taking ourselves into the emotion, energetically emotional release it. So I do emotional release, but this is something anybody can do on themselves. Donna Eden even has these energy daily routines that you can look up online, Donna Eden on YouTube, and you can see all of these simple little tasks. Some of it is just body tapping. Some of it is just using your hands to crisscross energy around you. But what this energy release is doing is it's actually clearing a lot of these trapped emotions. It's also clearing other people's energies or energies that just kind of weigh you down. Because we're dealing with the root chakra in this pandemic and dealing with, what crisis we are really feeling on this earth, stomping your feet, stomping, jumping, pounding, getting things through the bones, through the feet, jumping on a trampoline because it flushes the lymphatic system and bounces things. So it's going to start to stimulate your immune system. So healing by body work, healing by writing, going into that question, if today were my last day on earth, would I be fulfilled? So fear usually goes to death. Death usually has an underlying, what do I regret, or what would I regret if this was my last? Death is inevitable. We are all at some point going to die. And as much as we don't want that today or tomorrow, it is something that we have no idea when it will be. So to move into this work, to just heal some of this work for a little while we're here in quarantine, is going to help serve your healing and then the healing of the planet and the healing of all of humanity. So we have the body work, the grounding down, the stomping, the doing emotional release. We also have, and contact me, right, at mandala.mama@gmail.com, because I would love to do oh my gosh, that's not even my email. mandalamamafamily@gmail.com. I would love to do any energy work if you're feeling that this is something that you don't know if you can do on yourself. We all have that availability, but we also all have separate blocks, and that's okay if we have those blocks. If you are having a hard time during this pandemic, 100% certainty, if you're having a hard time, that there is unhealed wounds in your root chakra. So for some of us, we might have moments and then it kind of rests. I've been doing a lot of work with this, and I'm definitely affected by this pandemic. My husband is trapped overseas. I haven't seen him in 2 months, and I don't know when he's going to get home because he was supposed to be home tomorrow and he can't make it back to the States yet. And if he does, we don't know the quarantine situation and what that's going to be. So it's definitely affecting all of us on some wavelength. And if it's affecting you emotionally, then you for sure have some blocks in your root chakra. And this will be of benefit for you to do during this time of social isolation and quarantined rest. Otherwise, you would be very steady. You'd be steady like a tree. It would come, it would go, you would understand there's risks, but you would feel very steady within yourself. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes we don't always know if this is work for us, and we're not always confronting our emotions, so it's easy to just, again, with old habits, tuck them away. So one other thing is, before we get into the healing, is you cannot do all this healing work and have it last if there's not actionable steps. So for example, like if this pandemic is affecting you on, say, like a financial place where you are not really sure how you're going to be making money during this time, and you really don't love the job that you're doing, and you're very unsatisfied. And, just for example, whatever it is, if this is affecting you and you're going to do some of this inner healing, it's not going to be very useful if you, as soon as this settles, you go back out into the world and do the exact same thing you've been doing before, behave the exact same way, and have the exact same habits. So I'm hoping that we kind of come out of this monstrous pandemic and we all open our doors, we look out into the world, and there's a new part of us that maybe nobody recognizes because we've done our homework, we've done our healing work, and now we're out to make change in a very positive, uplifted, new vibrating way. And we're gonna rebuild this world, create new systems, whatever it is that we need to do, because we have found our empowerment by doing our inner work. So actionable steps. These actionable steps kind of come with the question of, am I living my soul's mission in life? Whatever comes after that, fill that in for yourself. Am I living my soul's mission? Am I living that mission that is coming from some deep, deep place within me that comes out, that speaks truth, and I feel very confident in it? If you can step out of this quarantine with that desire to live your soul's mission, you're going to find exactly what actionable steps need to be there for you. We have deep fears rooted in our root chakra. And once you do this healing work, your soul's purpose can only come through and out of you through action. So that's why it's so important to do this healing work. We could be blocking our own, missions even. Like, there's so much that we all uniquely have to offer. And now we have this opportunity to awaken into what this mission is and see what all of this life, what all of this is for. And when we could come into seeing what all of this is for, coming out of this with not only our own lifted energy, our own healing work, but actionable steps to go out and start making different changes, to create different systems and different ways of life that are going to make it so that hopefully this never happens again. And if it does, we're far more prepared and far more ready to come together, collaborate, and keep ourselves from dropping down into a closure of the entire world. But again, it is also our gift, because now we have that chance to stop, to do our inner work. So I'm hoping that that all resonates. It's okay if it doesn't. Just sit with it, just say yes, and just let it be a message, let it plant a seed, let it be something that you maybe look into. What kind of inner work do you need to do if this is not something that you've ever really looked into, the inner work? So this exercise that I'm going to do is, if you don't have a meditation practice, that's fine, but it is going to be one where we're going to start looking inward. It's very powerful. I love to work with spirits. I love to work with angels. I love to work with the divine force. I don't believe that I can do any of the energetic healing work that I do if those were not my spiritual warriors and my spiritual team. So I like to call on all of them. As I go through this, just open up. Just say yes. Just allow yours to come to you. And let's move through some healing right now. What do you say? Anyone? I can't really see all the messages, but hey. Well, let's do it. So wherever you are, hopefully there's not a lot of distractions. Excuse me. And if there are distractions, that's okay. Because in life, right, we have chaos around us. We don't always get to just sit in this perfect little world that is all roses and daffodils and butterflies. We have lots of chaos, and we have to be able to move inward even in some of the chaos that's around us. So no matter where you are, if your kids are at home and they're running around, see if there's a way that you can still listen to my words and still tune inward. So let's get into the healing work. So I want you to all close your eyes. We're going to do this work with the eyes closed. And as you close your eyes, I want you just to take a couple deep breaths. I'm going to start to tap into your energy. So take a couple deep breaths and just feel yourself move inward. Feel yourself drop the awareness into your heart space. Starting to feel some restless energies. Let's just say yes to the moment, yes to acceptance, yes to connecting. Just say yes to yourself. Yes, yes, yes. Notice your breath coming in and out. And then I want you to bring both your hands together and just keep the eyes closed, but rub your palms together. What we are doing here is just drawing in some energy, heating it up in between our hands, and we're going to place our hands right on your heart, one over the other. Now for this exercise, I want you to breathe in through the nose and out the mouth. In through the nose and out the mouth. So you're going to be letting anything out that is not serving you, just letting it out of the mouth, drawing air, oxygen in through the nose, calming your heartbeat, filling your lungs out the mouth. And just keep breathing like that. Just keep the eyes closed and keep your hand on your heart. I'm going to start to call the angelic and spiritual partners of mine. I call in all my angelic team, my spirit team, and every participant who is here or who listens to this in the future, that all of their spirit team come to be here in this moment. I call on Archangel Michael. I call on Archangel Raphael and Mother Mary. I call on all of the divine. Be here with all of us. Calm your energy. Just say yes. Just say yes. Take a deep breath in. I invite all of the spirits of every participant here, the divine energy, God, source energy, however you define it, it's here with us. And just breathe that energy into your heart. You might feel some tingling, you might feel some heat. Just breathe it into your heart. Nice deep breaths. And I'm going to ask you to open up your crown chakra. So this is the chakra at the very top of your head. Just visualize your head opening and invite the divine energy to pour in through the crown chakra. This golden light coming down in through the head. We're going to use the divine to heal us, to move through us. We say yes, invite it in. Let this light pour down over your head, over your face, soften your jaw and just breathe it in. Over the shoulders, down the chest, covering your heart. Keep your hands on your heart. Let this energy pour down into your belly and let your belly be soft. Don't hold it in, just let it be soft and loose. No one's watching, no one cares. Let it move down through your hips, through your legs, your knees, your shins, your feet. And then let this energy move through your feet all the way down. Visualize this energy moving down, grounding you into the earth. Moving through the earth's crust, down to the center of the crystalline core of the earth. And just feel it ground down, soaking up the earth's energy here as well. Feeling grounded, take a deep breath and just feel the sensation inside. Just notice what you're feeling. It's okay if your limbs start to feel cold. Oftentimes, when we feel the connection to the spirit the most, we start to feel tingles or chills. Just breathe into that. Thank your guides. Thank your divine source. And now, as we open and receive this energy from the divine creator, this pure, intense energy that has come through your head and grounded you down, we're going to ask the masters, the Archangel Michael, Saint Germain, and the violet flame. We're going to use this flame, this very powerful violet flame. Just visualize the color. That's all you need to do. Visualize this color, and we are going to ask that this flame go in and cut any cords of any participants, any cords of the root chakra, cords, paternal cords, maternal cords, anything that is attached that is not serving any of us. That these cords, these energetic attachments be released, be removed, and that they flow through and ground down into the earth. Take a deep breath. Just visualize a violent flame, this hot, spiritual, powerful flame moving through and cutting any cords that don't belong to you. Any cords that come from any ancestors this life or any before. Any other existence, that these cords be removed. Just say yes, people, just say yes. That's all you have to do. Quiet the mind and just say yes. And now I'm going to ask the divine feminine energy, Archangel Raphael, Mother Mary. I'm going to ask that this energy, this light, pink, soft, pure energy, this motherly energy, I'm going to ask that it come through also the crown of the head. Visualize this soft pink light through the crown of your head. Visualize it coming down. And I'm going to have you bring your hand all the way down to your root chakra. This is right by the pelvis. Take a breath there. We're going to heal this area with this feminine energy. And this energy, we're not going to ground down. We're going to keep it inside and just let it fill your being. Let it move through and heal any of the holes from where we cut the cords. Let it move through and heal any of these trapped emotions that have now been released. Let it move through, patching it up, soothing and healing the energy space. Keeping it in your energy filled, patching up the energy filled. Take a deep breath. Just say yes. Good. And as this energy fills you up, bring your hands back up to the heart. Now that we have this healing energy, now that we have this pure energy inside of us, as you feel your heart, just tap into love, tap into self-love, love for the planet, love for each other. And then visualize from your heart space, expanding this energy out away from you. Exhale it out. Take another breath in. And feel this expand out the room, out your home, anybody who is sitting in your home, any of your loved ones, your family, your children. Just visualize this expansion from your heart of this healing energy moving into you, into your loved ones. And then start to expand it into your town, your cities, your states. As we're spread out, just feel yourself expand this love out your continent, out to the other continents, to all the people who need this healing energy. Send it to them. Send this love to all of those who are hurting and who are suffering. All those people on the front line who are doing their best to heal this planet, to keep everything functioning. Just send your heart, your love out to all of those. All of the decision makers who are trying to make decisions for the collective, that they feel this love, they feel this light from you. So that your love, your light is covering the entire globe. And every time you do this work, this is something that you can do. Every time you cut your cords, you can cut your cords daily. You can find your own guides, your own spiritual masters. However the divine energy resonates with you, you call on your own spirits. This is what you can do daily. Spread this love out. Expand it. Expand it. I want to thank the energies, the divine masters, and also connect to the other participants that are here with us together. Thank all of your spirit teams and my spirit team. Expanding this energy. And feeling your vibration lift. And so it is, and so it is. Namaste. Now slowly you can start to open your eyes. Just kind of soak that in. So this is something that I invite you to do at any time, any day. I clear my energy, cut my cords daily. And since I started doing this, I've really felt a big difference in my healing and my own empowerment and my own courage to even step out and do a live Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So, it's really just something that we can always do for ourselves, and we can always offer for the world, because our inner work heals the world. So I don't want to be on here too much longer, but if there's any of you that have like a question I could quickly address about anything that we talked about, so specifically if you have other questions that aren't pertaining to the root chakra, fear-based stuff, then we can do that later.